for moving forward with the final draw, the last draw of our Measure U bond money. So I am actually going to share my screen so that I can navigate the PowerPoint while Tim does the talking. So I'm going to share my screen.
All right. Thank you, Maureen. Hopefully everyone can hear me all right. Good evening, Madam President and members of the
Diana,
board.
are you going to let me share my
Tim
screen?
Cardy. Sure. So
Diana?
I am Tim Cardy. Whoops.
Oh, hold on, Tim.
Excuse me? Can you hear what I'm saying? I just wanted to ask, would it be possible to record this meeting? Because I know they're usually recorded, and we use them.
It is recording.
They are always recorded.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
And everyone can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I know some people have been having some audio issues, so hopefully everyone can hear me all right.
Can everybody see the screen?
Everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so thank you for letting me be here. As Maureen described, I want to review with you two topics. One of them is the opportunity for the district to take the final draw of money under Measure U, which we passed back in 2014. And then the second is, at the same time, to try to take advantage of the low interest rates that exist today and refinance some of the district's older bonds to try to save some money for the local community. So we have a deck of slides here, which I will go through. Some of them have a fair amount of detail on them, so I'll try to keep it at a high level, but give board members, an opportunity, whether it's during the slides or afterward, to ask any questions, or I can cover anything, Maureen, that you or Diana think I should in any degree of depth. But I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to share this information with you. So a little bit about Measure U and how we got from 2014 to the present. So one of the things I thought would be helpful just to orient ourselves is in 2014, when voters voted on Measure U, this was the 75-word ballot statement, or ballot question, I should say, on which voters voted. So you can see that what the voters approved was a $90 million bond authorization for a variety of projects with a Citizens Oversight Committee and so forth. So this was the ballot language, always helpful as a starting point, I think, to take a look at that when we discuss the school district bond measure. Then if we look at page 3, this is what I would call the 40,000-foot view of Measure U. It was approved in November 2014, 66.3%. Remember, you need 55% to pass a school bond in California. It was for $90 million. And like most school districts, we didn't get all the money in one draw. We took a draw in 2015. We took a draw in 2018, $20 million and $40 million respectively, which leaves us with $30 million left. So then if you look at page 4, so if we were to take the final draw now, we could take it for the full $30 million. Now, when a school district issues bond, there's two types of bonds. One, where the interest earned by the investor is both tax-exempt federal and tax-exempt state, or where the interest is included on the investor's federal income tax return, but exempt on the state. The advantage of what they call the taxable bond, which is, it is included for federal income tax, is it gives a school district more flexibility on the amount of time it takes to spend the money. So with the $30 million, rather than be boxed in to have to spend all of the money within 3 years, if we issue the bonds as what are called taxable bonds, the district gets a little more flexibility. If the length of time it takes you to spend the money goes beyond 3 years, there's no problem, there's no requirement. And the interest rate differential is very, very small. So the sense that I've gotten in terms of talking with Maureen is it might be beneficial to the district to have a little more flexibility on the amount of time you need to spend the money, and it's at very little cost. So that's why what we're thinking here is a taxable bond. 30-year term, just like a home mortgage. Now, for a unified school district in California, the most we can ask taxpayers to pay per election is $60 per 100,000. So we could take this draw together with the 2 draws we've previously taken and have a projected tax rate of about $56 per 100,000. That is underneath the $60. And I just want to remind the board, and that's why it's in red. When we talk about a bond tax, it's on the assessed valuation of property, the tax value, not the market. So if someone has $1 million home, they could sell it for $1 million, but it's taxed at $600,000. That's on what the bond taxes is. Whenever we look at a bond program, such as Measure U, we build in as a planning tool a rate of growth in assessed valuation on an annual basis. And we put Measure U on the ballot in 2014. We used 4% as a planning tool. Every year since 2014, the district has grown at a greater rate. But with COVID-19, one of the things we're doing with all of our school districts is we're building in some conservative. So what we're doing is, rather than use the 4% rate of annual growth that we used back in 2004, just again as a planning tool, we're using 0% for 2 years, then 2% for 2 more years, then returning to the 4%. We just really want to take into account that there will be some COVID-19 impacts on the local economy, and we're trying to take that into account in computing that projected $56 Measure U tax rate. So I think just looking at this slide, we can draw the $30 million, do it at a tax rate underneath $60 per 100,000, and do it at conservative assumptions in terms of the growth of assessed valuation within the district. Where are we in the process? Which is the colorful slide here. We tried to see how many different colors we could put on a slide just to give us something interesting to look at. So here we are at the top, August 25th. We would come before the board for approval of the legal documents for the bond draw at your September 22nd meeting. One of the things about Carpinteria Unified School District, we have very high credit ratings. And we've worked with Diana and Maureen in the past to secure those credit ratings. We want to do that again. That's what helps get us very low interest rates on the bonds and keep the tax rate as low as possible for the community. We would do that toward the end of September. We would try to get into the market and sell the bonds late in October. I think it's probably wise to get in before the presidential election, just in case there's some uncertainty there, and then have the money in the bank and available to the district the week before Thanksgiving. So that's the general plan. Very straightforward. This would be the final draw. This would close out Measure U. We would have taken all the money in 3 draws over about a year period.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is our credit rating at risk of changing because our reserve is so low now?
So that's a very good question. One of the things we're going to do, and we've already booked some time with both Maureen and Diana, is we're going to prepare for the credit rating folks, and we're going to put our best foot forward. The district's reserve levels are one factor that the credit rating people look at. They also look at, remember, the bond is paid by the community, not the district. So the credit rating folks have always given us very high marks in terms of the socioeconomics of the community which we serve. We will put our best foot forward relative to what an attractive school district it is, academic excellence. But our reserve levels are something which we will have to take into account. But it's only one factor, so it doesn't necessarily mean that our rating will go down. Even if our rating did go down by one notch, though, we still would have a very high credit rating, and we still would be able to take this draw under Measure U. But we'll do the best we can on that one.
Diana, I have a question, Diana, for you.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yes. You mentioned that because of the loss mitigation funding, that our reserves were actually 6.9%. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, because you mentioned that because of that mitigation loss funding, that our reserves were up to 6.9%.
Closer to 6.1.
6.1.
Yeah.
So
Our reserves are over 5% right now.
okay, so
Yeah.
then it shouldn't be a problem, correct, for that credit.
You know, hope not. We're sitting, we have a credit rating that is in the AA category, which is higher than the median rating for a California school district. We will do the best we can to present all of the factors that make Carpenter a unified school district the school district that it is. The reserves only being one of them. But we will, you know, when we last talked to the credit rating folks, just to give you a sense, we put together a briefing document that looked something like this, that had about 30 different slides. Everything in terms of the community and the academic excellence. And so we'll do the best we can and try to see if we can get our credit rating maintained.
Tim, but what's up reserves that you're using, like the 3.9 that the district had probably a month, 2 months ago, or the current one where it's over 5%, 5.1%?
They take the latest document, Rogelio. They take your latest financial reporting. And in this case, we'll have our unaudited actuals that you're going to see at the next board meeting. So they look at actual past activity as well as the budget you're projecting for the current year. They also look at your multi-year assumptions. It's very complicated. It's not very straightforward, and it's not just the reserves. I had a call last week, a conference with Fitch Ratings, and it went really well. And we have the fact that we are a community-based funded charter, we're basic aid, and that does work to our favor to increase, to keep us in that AA rating. And I know Tim's being conservative. I'm going to be a little more optimistic that we're not going to lose that AA status.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and I just pulled out, and Maureen's 100% right. I just pulled out one of the most recent rating reports. Basic aid status, one of the bullets that the rating people called out. And very strong income, strong wealth levels in the community, stable local economy, access to the greater Santa Barbara labor market. Maureen's right, there's a whole variety of factors. The management of the district, we've always scored very highly on that. So we haven't really begun that process, but we will do the best we can. Maureen's right. I'm always a little bit conservative on these credit ratings, probably a little too conservative, but that's my job. That's my job. So we're cautiously optimistic about how we'll fare with the credit rating folks.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim, very much.
Sure. So then there was one more topic, if that's helpful, Maureen, that I think we wanted to cover, which was also the opportunity to refinance, right? Some of the
Right.
district's existing bonds. And I have a few slides. There may be more detail than we necessarily need, but so I'll go over this group of slides fairly quickly. But I think it's important for the board to know that at the same time we're drawing on Measure U, we also have the opportunity to save taxpayers some money by refinancing some of our older bonds. So we're going to pull those slides up, Maureen?
You know, I can't share my screen right now, so the board should have the presentation and they can go through it. They can follow.
Sure.
But go ahead
So
and give
if the
the
board
overview.
members, okay, so let me give the overview. Do the board members have the deck of slides, Andy? So if you do, interest rates are at historically low levels. So lots of school districts around California are trying to see if any of our older bonds can be refinanced. So some of our bonds, the first draw under Measure U back in 2015, and then some of the bonds under the previous election, Measure A, can be refinanced. The number one question I get asked by board members, would we be extending the term? There we go.
There we go.
And I'll go quickly over these because I know you. So no surprise, if you look at interest rates, if you look at the lower right-hand corner, the bellwether that we look at, which is 10-year United States Treasury note, rates are extremely low. So just like folks are trying to refinance their mortgages, consolidate, credit card debt, same thing with school bonds. If we go to the next slide, we have two bond series that are eligible to be refinanced. We have some bonds from Measure A, some bonds from Measure U. If you look at the interest rate delta about halfway down the page in red, we could take some bonds that currently carry about 5% and replace those with bonds at about 2.3%. Probably save the community somewhere between $500,000 and $650,000 net of cost, and probably have about a $400,000 minimum. Meaning if something happened, the market moved, we lost the savings before we could lock in the rate, no harm, no foul, we'll put it on the shelf, we'll wait for another time. And the thing I was saying is no extension of the term. If you look at the next slide, this is a little more detail, but in green, those are the bonds that we would be looking to refinance. See how they have those 5% interest rates on them? And the gold in the right, those are the kinds of new interest rates with which we would be able to replace them. So you get a little more detail about the interest rate delta. If you look at the next slide, this just again shows no extending the term. Column 2, the old bonds go out to 2040. Column 3, the new bonds would go out to 2040. If we are ready to go today, there's almost $625,000 worth of net savings to taxpayers. And for a typical homeowner in the district, it's about $56 over time. $625,000 is a lot of money, but when you spread it across all the district, businesses, homes, apartments, and everybody, it's about $56 for the typical home. The one thing on the next two slides that I just want to share with you, we have about $10.8 million in old bonds that we would refinance. But in order to do that, we would issue about $13.5 million worth of new bonds. Now you might wonder, why is that? It's really in 100% of the cases, when a school district refinances old bonds, we need to issue more in new bonds. Why is that? That's because of what's in red in the bottom half of the page. We can refinance now, but the investors who own the old bonds, we can't cash them out until August 1, 2024 for some, August 1 of 2025 for others. So what that means is on the next page, and this is the last page of the deck. So if you look at on the next page in gold to the left, we would issue about $13.5 million in new bonds. Where does the money go? We have some transaction costs, about $100,000. That's the gray rectangle at the top. And then we would pay off the old bonds. That's the blue at the bottom. But we have to pay the interest on the old bond until 2024 and until 2025. And that's what's in green. And because we have to cover that interest, that's why we have to borrow more than the amount of bonds we're refinancing. But the savings, the 500,000 to about 650,000, is net of all of that. But the reason I show you that is when we come back to you with the resolution at the September 22nd board meeting, you'll see a number like 13.5 or not to exceed maybe $14 million. And I just wanted you to know why that number is larger than the amount of bonds we're paying off. It's because we have to cover the interest during that period. But the refinancing is a win-win. All the money goes to the taxpayer. So the district doesn't get any of the savings. It all goes to the taxpayers. No extension of the term. A lot of school districts around California are trying to take advantage of low rates. So I'll stop there. Thank you for letting me share this. I'm obviously happy to answer any questions, or Maureen, if there's anything you think I missed in which the board members would be interested, I'm happy to cover it, but happy to share any more or answer any questions anyone might have.
So yes, Tim. So actually what you're talking about is that, let's say up to 2024 or 2025, we won't see actually any improvement by refinancing because of the interest that we'll be paying to the all the bonds, and then we have to like cash out or refinance or put it into several funds. Let's say you said 14 million. So that means that for the next 4 or 5 years, we're gonna be like, there won't be any change, correct?
No, that's a very good question, Rogelio, but no. Maureen, I don't know if you can go back to the slides, but the taxpayers will begin seeing the saving next year. They don't have to wait until 2024 or 2025, because what happens, Rogelio, is the money from the new bonds takes care of the interest on the old bonds starting now. So the community is only being taxed for the new. They're not being taxed anymore for the old. So the taxpayers are going to start seeing the benefit right away.
It's like refinancing your house, Rogelio. Your payment goes down right now, but your amortization over the next 15, 25, or 30 years, whatever you do it for, happens over time.
Yeah, like you said, refinancing a home, yeah.
It's the same kind of concept.
If you got paid off 2 or 3 years, those are gone. So
right. So it's not, we don't have to wait until 2024 to get the benefits. The taxpayers beginning next year, they'll see the savings, the tax bill that goes out October 2021. The savings are right away.
that's for the taxpayer, correct?
Yeah. The tax bill will be lower next year.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Tim. Very interesting.
Sure. My pleasure. We'll obviously come back on September 22nd with the documents, but thank you so much for letting me be part of your meeting this evening.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Sure.
So
Thanks.
moving on to I-2, Resolution 2872 is the district rendering of the local zoning ordinances inapplicable for the Summerlin School. Jamie, this is a roll call.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Andy. A second? Okay. Any questions about this?
Ideal. Since Cindy, you're on the Zoom, it looks like, can you just explain I talked to Diana a little bit about it earlier, but can you just kind of reiterate why we're having to do this?
Yes, we did this before when we were dealing with the city of Carpinteria with all of the campuses within the city limits. And what it does is it's an official statement that says, we're not bound by the county zoning, we're bound by the state Division of State Architects. So it's an important resolution. Craig Price's office has always suggested that we pass this. So that's what it means. It's just a formal acknowledgement that we're not subject to it. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
I have a question. Was this the only bid that the district got for this?
We're talking about I-2 right now.
Correct.
I too.
Correct. All right. Okay.
Resolution.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I see.
Jamie, this is roll call.
All right, Rogelio,
Aye.
Sally,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
and Michelle,
Aye.
and I am also aye.
Thank you. And I3 is the approval of the contract with Move Green for moving services. This is basically taking back all the things that they took away in June. So this
Move to approve.
Thank you. Second? Any questions?
Yes, actually, that's the my last question. Was there only one bid on this?
We don't have to bid it, it's a service. This is not a public contract, so we don't have to go out and ask for bids. Move Green has done are moving on all of our projects, and they've always done a really good job.
So it was just selected, correct? That's what you were saying.
Pardon me?
It was just like you selected this company.
We selected them, but it's based on past experience with them. They've done a good job for us each move.
Yeah, so in the past, the board has approved hiring Move Green to assist with all the moves. So they've helped in Catalino, they've helped in the high school before, they helped at Aliso. So this is a company that we've been working with for the last 3 years, and the board has been approving them for the last 3 years. So it's not a new company.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Did we get a motion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to I4 is the approval of change order number 1, campus modernization phase 2 with McGillivray construction at Aliso. The board is asked to approve change order 1 for $55,408.31.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes. Just like it says, on April 14 of 2020, we approve it in amount of $2,669. Now, 3 months later, there's $56,000 more. So this is my question. Why was not this 56,000 included on the original amount? I mean, it's only, since April, that's 4 months.
Yes, so Rogelio, if you look at the attachment to the change order, there are 8 items that have been identified that were discovered during the process of construction. For example, when the bid was accepted, they did not know that there was maple floors underneath the tile. So they discovered maple floors. Well, you don't want to rip up maple floors. So that's a change. They also discovered that the existing ceiling system that they thought they could patch, they could not patch. So this is pretty typical in construction, that you're going to find things in an old building like a LISO that were not necessarily obvious or aware of or in the drawings when we accepted the bid. So the change orders have been pretty limited. So that's for construction, for our projects, we've had a pretty small amount of change orders, but this is not uncommon.
Cindy, what do we have plugged in there for change orders on most of our projects? What's the contingency amount?
Oh, well, when I budget, I put in an additional 10% contingency, and we never come close to that.
Thank you.
No.
Okay, all those in favor? All those in favor of approving change order number 1?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jamie, I didn't hear everybody.
Oh, aye. Aye.
Rogelio?
Nay.
Okay, moving on to I-5. The contract with Kruger, Benson, and Zimmer for furniture selection and order coordination for Student Success Center at Carpinteria High School. I know Jamie had a question about this. Cindy, were you going to make any kind of presentation on it?
Well, I'm happy to. What I wanted to convey to all of you is that this is a unique project. It's a 5,000 square foot building. It has 2 large classrooms and 7 offices. The plan is to make this, and this is something I talked to Gerardo about just the other day, a special place for students, which means that we want the surroundings to be more conducive to students being able to gather together, to meet with counselors, the kinds of things that Gerardo was envisioning. I think he actually showed you a picture of it in his presentation back in February, and I included it again so we could all remember. This is the sort of thing that he saw on other campuses, similar programs, and he felt like this would be a really good situation for our students. So the furniture would be flexible. They'd be able to move it around in different configurations. The designer would need to spend more time than usual in researching the types of furniture available, the types of coverings, because the type of covering is going to be really important in terms of durability and sanitation now as well. So there's a lot more involved in doing this project than just rolling out a classroom full of desks and chairs. There's also more meetings with Gerardo. He wanted to see ideas, then he wants to meet with his staff and get, you know, what they think too, since they're the ones working with the students. So it's visualized as being a much more unique space for students than what we've done anywhere else in the district.
Okay, the same question that I have. Was this is a contract? So was this the only bid?
We don't bid out our architects that way. Initially, when we first started our projects, we did requests for proposals. We had several architectural firms do presentations, and based on their presentations and our background information on the quality of their work, we selected 2 architects, Kruger Benson Zimmer and Robert Robles. So this contract is from a designer from Kruger Benson Zimmer.
Any further questions?
Well, that suggestion is that what Cindy, what you just mentioned is that probably includes something like there were two presentations, and this one was the one that we selected. I mean, just to be fair to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can we have a motion on this?
We had a motion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, okay. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to J, the personnel summary. Can I have a motion to approve the personnel summary?
Move to approve.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. K is board announcements. Anybody have anything?
Yes. Something strange happened. Remember that we had that our last meeting was on August 11th. So on the 12th, I got this envelope at home. Okay? Just that. I mean, my name, my address, and nothing in the back. So, anonymous, all right? So that's something that is pretty odd.
Rogelio, I can explain that. Sometimes
Wait,
people
wait,
send.
Wait, Monica, wait. I haven't finished. All right, so I open it cautiously because I told the district year and a half ago, if you get anything anonymous in my name, do not send it to me.
I didn't open what's inside, Rogelio. I don't open your mail. It's closed. It's just addressed to you. I just put it in an envelope and send it to you and all the board members who received it.
Just a second, Monica. So I opened that envelope and I found this. Okay. 2 envelopes with a printed name, my name, and the address was a district, 1400 Linden Avenue, right? And the stamp is right there. I mean, brand new. I mean, not a news. I mean, it was delivered. I don't know how, but I don't know if there's some mail slot at the district or someone just walked in and delivered this letter, a couple of letters. And not only that, but it was addressed to a lot of people, school board members, district leadership. And my question is to any one of you, to all of you, each one of you, did you get it? Did you get the same thing that I got?
I don't know what you got.
Well, I just told you. that
I got a letter. I don't know if it's the same letter.
No, well,
I don't know what your letter says.
I got a letter too.
I
got a
received a letter. Yep.
I got two anonymous. Okay.
Yep.
I've gotten 2 over the last month. Yeah.
Yes, I've gotten
No,
2
no,
over
no.
the last one.
This was mailed on the 12th of August, the day after our board meeting. And I mean, if the district is gonna mail me something, at least put your address. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. This is something like this should never happen. And I mean, so it seems to me, actually, I don't know what to think, whether you got him or not. But you're saying that what your silence is telling me is that you didn't get this on the 12th. And believe me, this is
What does it say, Rogelio?
Well,
you want to read it? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I listen. So it seems to me that
you should read it, because I think you brought it up. You should read the letter.
Well, you know why? Because I don't have the permission from this person.
An
The anonymous
letter.
person? The anonymous letter? I think you should read the letter now.
No.
I am curious to say what I received.
No, it doesn't matter what you think. It
doesn't
is.
matter what you think.
Rogelio, we all got those letters. Monica obviously sent the letters to you in an envelope, but we all got the letters.
Okay, so, and no
and
one.
Your address is
Then how come am I being asked to read the letters? Yesterday I didn't get it.
You're asking us if we got the same letter, but we don't know.
Wait, Michelle, yesterday that you got one last month. I'm talking about last month, and you said that well, read those letters. So, I mean, and now I'm hearing both sides. Yes, we got them, and no, we didn't get them. So this actually.
But no one said they didn't get it. Everyone said they did get them.
We have received a letter, just not the same letter that we know of, because you won't read yours.
Well, you see, that's what I mean. I'm gonna let the.
Well, if you read it, then we'd know if it's the same letter.
Let me tell you, this is public record. So I'm gonna. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna address it to whoever is mentioned on this letter, and that's it. But actually, I mean, it shouldn't.
Thank you, Rogelio.
Right.
Think you received this letter, and there's no further comment about it. We all got the letter. It's the same one that you're holding. So can we move on?
Yeah.
No, not yet. Well, I'm talking. You're interrupting me, right?
So the purpose of this line item is an announcement, not to criticize
Well,
the staff.
Because let me tell you. You just said this is a school. This is a school activity. He just said it.
This is not an activity.
What is it then?
This is an internal procedure, and if you have an issue with it, you should address it with Diana and Monica directly, not at a public meeting.
You're wrong. No, you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
No, yes, you are. Because basically.
Because you're violating our board agreements at this time.
No,
we're moving on. Thank you. I only wanted to say that I would like to say thank you very much, Michelle Hernandez, for her amazing menus on the grab and go meals for the kids. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mr. Gomez and Mr. Dominguez for or Lopez, sorry, for all of their hard work this summer in the FFA program and helping all the students, prepare for the virtual showmanship and then for the virtual auction. and then all the community members that participated in that. So, but a big hats off to our ag teachers for their dedication and devotion to our students. It really shows.
I agree. Michelle, Jamie, Monica, is there anything? Oh, sorry, Jamie.
No. I have nothing. Thank you, Sally.
Monica, is there anything for the board calendar?
Yes. So the next board meeting is going to happen actually on Thursday instead of a Tuesday because of the Labor Day weekend. So we had it already scheduled like that since December when we do all of our meetings for the year. And we just thought it was best just to leave it. So it's going to be on Thursday, September 10th. So our next board meeting will be Thursday, September 10th.
Thank you. Any future agenda items? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? And thank you all for participating.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And